Welcome back to Angels and Bob's Factorio, and I thought I'd start this episode with some nice efficiency improvements, basically getting more fuel. Now, we've been running our fuel so far, and we'll go to steam power soon enough, but we're running our fuel using these, and as you can see, they're on about half the time now. And what we can do is replace the fuel. We can put anything we like into it. We can use wood if we like. Is wood building up yet? No, although it is just limited by these, I imagine. Okay, so yeah, what can we do? So coal is, if you have a look at its fuel value, it's going to be able to produce 8 megajoules. Carbon, however, is 6 megajoules. You may think that's terrible by comparison, but we can swap in carbon. Let's take a look at why. So for carbon, let's just take a look at the recipe. Carbon, there you are. We get 3 carbon with 2 coke and 35 carbon dioxide. So if you multiply that up by 10, it makes things a little bit easier. So for 30 carbon, we need 20 coke and 350 carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, let me just find the right recipe. Yeah, so for 50 carbon dioxide, we need 1 coal. So what was it I said previously? We need 350, so that's 7 coal. All right, so we just need 7 coal for this side of it. For coke, that's the same in crushed coal, so there's no point even in looking at that. But to get this 20 coke as it will be now, we need 10 coal because it multiplies it when you crush it by 2. So 10 coal plus 7 coal equals 30 carbon. And if you do the sums there, 30 carbon times 6 is 180 megajoules. And 17 coal times 8 megajoules, which is what it's worth, is 136 megajoules. So we get about 30%-ish more bang for our buck by switching to carbon. As long as you have enough carbon supply, that is. So let's just actually update that, and we'll run it this way. Do I want it here? I want it within range of this, so having it run this way will be good, I think. And then we can feed that back into this furnace, and it can use carbon as fuel. I've filled it with carbon already. That's unfortunate where that power pole is, but no big deal. Here comes our carbon, and we can just run it this way. We can cut this out now entirely, run carbon in, and we still have to run coal, unfortunately. So coal is now, I've moved it from running off this line here to running here and straight up. So now the only thing feeding these furnaces, these sort of turbines, let's just get rid of you for a second. Yep, the only thing feeding these burner turbine generators is carbon, and it's going to take a little bit longer because this is worth more energy for it to get through these, but as soon as it does, we've basically got 30 more fuel. It will, however, burn through carbon faster, so all I've done over here is just double up the setup. This produces 50 carbon dioxide. This only uses 35 carbon dioxide per run. However, if you try to share one of these between 2 of these, it can't quite produce enough, I don't think. So having 2 machines dedicated is perfectly fine. And we've got the usual switch back here, and this one will feed automatically onto this side of the belt. We'll switch it onto the other side of the belt, and then we'll feed onto the same side of the belt there, which goes around. This side of things does not need much carbon at all, at least at the moment, because we're basically waiting for all the wood products. And I'll go back to that in a minute. But we're making fuel. And we're doing it much better than we did before, just by not using coal. Okay, so time to optimize the basic electronic boards as well. While we're at it, we can use these electronic assembly machine 1s instead of the assembly machine 2s. They're built for the purpose. They're quite a bit smaller, quite cute by comparison to the size of these, and we can copy the recipe across just fine. The difference is that these are double the speed of tier 1s, and if you have a look at tier 1, the 0.5 crafting speed. These are 0.75 crafting speed. These are 1, so double these. Sort of useful if you have to modify things. When we're building up one of these setups, though, what we're about to do, we're going to keep everything the same tier as if possible, and only when we want to slow things down intentionally do we want to do it otherwise. And that's going to be key here. So what does a basic electronic board need to make? It needs these, the electronic components. It needs solder, which we've got here, and it needs these basic circuit boards. So we've got basic circuit boards here. We've got solder, or we can bring solder in here. So we can get this machine to actually work at full speed, assuming we have enough input. We do, however, need to reproduce these. So let's just copy this recipe across. Why? Well, because in here, for one basic electronic board a second, we need 5 per second. But for one machine, we only produce 5 every 2 seconds. So we need 2 machines. 2 machines. That's why it's slower at the moment. All right, so for these, we then need some more ingredients. We need carbon, which we're getting from somewhere else, and we need tinned copper cable. Now, here is where we have to change things a little bit, because tinned copper cable is much faster to produce than anything else. If I just pop these in and choose tinned copper cable, over here, you'll see what I mean. So remember, we need to make 10 every 2 seconds. So we're going to need 2 bunches of this every 2 seconds. So it's still just 1 tin copper wire per second, I think. Yes, 1 tin copper wire per second. However, the recipe for that, at normal speed, produces 3 every half second or 6 every second. So a couple of ways you can handle that. You could drop the speed right down. You could use one of these machines, and that would then produce half, so 3 per second. And that would probably work. You could have enough then and put it onto a belt so that you had it balanced with 3 of these next to each other, one above the other. I'm not going to worry about it too much because I can probably go for 6. I'd then need to worry about it a lot less if everything tiles nicely. It'll tile on this side. It's this side that we have to worry about. So on this side, and I may not even need 2 of these, but we'll go with it for now. On this side, we need to feed in the amount of cable that we need. So let's have a look at that. We need the equivalent number. So it's going to be 6 per second of copper cable. And copper cable, we make 4 per second. That's not easy unless we do something a little bit strange, or it may look strange. We'll use 2 of these, and each of these is 0.75 of crafting speed. So it should drop us down from 6 to 4, which is exactly what we want, I think. And if we put these in, then these can be fed with copper. So we've got copper coming in here, copper cable going out and direct inserting. And direct inserting in Angel as Bob seems to be a good thing to do. So from this, we also need we need copper coming in here, tin coming in here, and then we need the other bits and pieces. So how can we manage that easily? Can we? Let me do some quick rearranging. And forget that idea. I think there's a better way of balancing this. We're forgetting that we also need copper cable for these, in addition to this. So if we have a look at this, let's just pop this down at full speed. Remember, if we just pop that down through here. Okay, so we make 2 copper cable every half second, or 4 per second. Popping up. Remember, this will get us 6 per second. Okay. And if we pop back up again, these, however, take 3 per second. So if we make 4 in one of these, take off 3, that leaves us with 1 per second. And if we go into basic electronic components, remember we only needed 1 per second and we're getting 6. So if we divide this down, if we only supply 1 per second instead of 6 per second, which is what this will actually need to run at full speed, then we will be able to use just 1 per second, which means essentially balanced, or at least for the inputs. So if we just choose copper cable, put you in here, then we can take this and output to it. So I guess something like that. I'm just putting 2 in just in case I need it. I'll probably remove them and replace them with blue inserters. So we're going to need copper running in here. And we're going to need these running in here. So let's just actually cut this off and see if it'll work live, shall we? And then we're going to need an underground belt, at least one. At least one set. There we go. And let's take all of you out for a second. We don't need any of this. Well, hopefully we don't need any of this. We'll soon find out. There we go. We can remove all of this and just push this stuff this way. Insert into here and remove you. All right, that's that sorted. And these are facing the wrong way, aren't they? I think. Or is it already finished? One copper cable coil. Ah, yeah, they are working. That's fine. So these all output exactly what we want. This shouldn't be needed anymore, so I can probably move this whole thing up by one. Are you just waiting for tin? You are. That's fine. I'll rearrange you in a second. You can just pull all of this up. So satisfying, Factorio, to compact everything, if you can do anyway. We'll see this in a second. So we've got tin and we've got cable coil here. We're not going to need that anymore. We just need tin. And we're going to decide how we do this in such a way that we tile it. Can we, I wonder, because this is only 2 now. If I put another underground belt, if I put it here and go into here, can I snatch straight off that belt like that? That'd be interesting. Will it grab you? Will you grab? You will. Good. And of course they're all going to... I suppose that still works, but I'm going to move that afterwards. Yeah, so these are now going to start. So they just need some carbon and nothing else. So let's remove all of this lot. All of you as well. Look at this, just how much of this we're actually reclaiming. Let's just grab that, and in fact we can go down here and we can go with a full belt of carbon instead of half a belt. Doesn't really matter as far as the machines are concerned. But now we're going to have a problem, aren't we? How am I going to route this so that they can snatch from the belt? I guess it's possible we could just run it this way. Can I make another underground belt? Probably just got the last amount. So if I run it like that, I can then just back this up a little bit just so that I've got some room to tile. All right, and then if I can move that somewhere else, then we should be able to grab from here. Grab from here. And then the other thing we need is this to be put somewhere, which is interesting. That can go, well, we're going to need a bit more finagling. Let me rearrange. Okay, so this all looks rather nicely set up for tiling. We need a bit more work perhaps, but not much more. To give you an idea, we've got 3 straight lines incoming, one with carbon, one with tin, and one with copper. Copper is actually the problem at the moment. I'm probably going to need to set up a proper setup over here. Unless, is this just that this single furnace is too slow. That's the main problem. So we've got 3 lines coming in, and our basic insulating board comes in here. We've got our tinned copper cable and a copper coil here. This is being shared by this machine and this machine, and that should be perfectly balanced as long as there's enough copper coming in. There isn't at the moment. In turn, that gets passed onto this ground, and that's a bit of a... Actually, it's a bit of a good thing that I had it there. It just means it's easier to do this underground thing. If I move these over, it'd be perfectly fine, but then I'd probably need to use splitters on this line, and a splitter before and a splitter after these. So yeah, I think I'll leave them as is. They pass between each other quite easily, quite straightforwardly. And then at the end, you'll see I've upgraded these with blues just to make sure that this last one gets done as quickly, gets loaded as quickly as possible, just because it's got lots of different components. And then we're just passing it into a box at the moment. Yeah, so that's all good. And if I want to tile this, all I need to take is probably something like, in fact, let me just get a blueprint so that I can grab this. So if we do something along the lines of, say, that, I think should do. And then we can save this as BEB. Save that. And I guess, can we choose an icon that is not you? And I actually want to choose the basic boards themselves. They're under electronic, I think. There we go. So we want to save that, and then we're going to put it in our blueprint library. There we go. So once I get nanobots, which I'm probably going to get next or fairly soon. In fact, let's just take a look at that. We want construction bots, don't we? There is construction bots that are the nanobot variants, and we can just make those fairly easily. Main problem is that they get used up. So as they do things for you, they will they'll decay. Nanobots in general just let you place down blueprints and will construct it if you have the stuff in your inventory. We are heading towards a logistics system which will construct it. If there's anything anywhere in the logistics system, they'll construct it for you, but we're not there yet. We need to maybe do some more optimization, maybe just get everything running. You can see all the wood products are coming in just fine now. And yeah, so you can choose to optimize this a little bit more. For example, we don't need that. We only need one of these factories. In fact, we only need about half a factory. And we can also move the solder down here as well if we wanted to. I'm not sure if we can compact it all that much more though, however, because the solder's going to need the output stage. So if we did that, then we just move that to here, and then, yeah, it wouldn't be particularly better, I don't think, or not more compact like we have with the rest of this stuff. So yeah, I'll leave it for now. Actually, there is one thing I can do that I actually want to do. We need, what do we need for you? We need the solder plate and the resin, but we don't need the wood. And for this, we need the wood and the stone tablet. So we can get rid of, I've just got a couple of filter inserters, which we need the basic electronic boards to make. And then we can just separate these lines. So I can say right here, let's just separate. And I want the only thing for you to pass that way. This way is going to be resin. Whoops, let's get rid of this rock. Let's get rid of both of those as well. And we're going to want to bring you in by one, I guess. And then something, whoops, not you. Something like that. And then we need to tell it to grab resin only. Give it some power, and it's going to grab resin. You, however, are just going to grab wood and nothing else. Great. So once we clear this belt off of resin, wood should come around. And in that case, we can just turn this here. Not quite there. We need to merge these two belts, I guess. Let's just clear the rest of this belt off. Yeah, the solder plates below, so we're going to just need to, oh, actually, yeah, it'll be coming onto the right side. There we go. It makes more sense. We don't have to have any of these complicated long-headed inserters for that. Yeah, that looks good. The only other thing we could do, I guess, is move this, but once we have this belt, we could send it that way, I guess, and then I guess we could put interesting. Yeah, we could direct insert here. Let's just get rid of view for a second. And we don't need the speed of this one, but, you know, it's just convenient to make it look alike. And I can take all this belt back. In fact, I just want the products kept back. Need a box somewhere, just put some stuff in temporarily. Let's put some stone and coal in there. Okay, so I just want to send all of you that way instead. There we go. Let's clear off the belt. Is one too far out? That's annoying. Let's put you in the right place, shall we? There we go. Great, and that should pass in the right ingredients. We can recover all the rest. Get rid of all of this stuff, and we should be fairly cleaned up now, I think. I guess I could even grab the wood from over there and then take it across this way. It doesn't matter much at the moment. I can clean that up later and maybe move this filter inserter deal over to here or something like that and then send it that way, and then the resin can go wherever. In fact, this factory can be moved down here as well, so we don't have this huge loop. I'll do that off camera though. And there we go, nice and compact. I don't think I can compact this anymore. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you think I can. But yeah, we've got everything sort of removed. So move this filter setup down here. So the resin is going to be put onto this belt with a solder plate, which is going to be brought into this solder. It doesn't really matter that this is slow. It's fine that because we're going to probably tile this down. This may need this speeding up in the future. And on the other side, we've got the wood coming in along with the concrete plates, or whatever they're called, stone plates, stone tablets. And then going in this side, straight into here, which is being passed underneath and then into there. So that should tile pretty well heading downwards. The only remaining problem is, of course, the furnace here. And to solve that, I went with the easiest option, which is just to run a line straight from our main furnaces over there all the way back over here. And for now, that will do just fine, which should speed up the setup. Certainly seems to be doing its job. And I may want to go to blue inserters just to make sure everything is running as fast as it can. Okay, so that's going to be yellow sometimes. That's not really much of a problem. I'm mainly watching for these. This is the bottleneck mod. I want to make sure as much as possible that that they're all green. And in this case, near enough, apart from this. And it's fine that that's slightly slow. As long as these aren't actually going yellow, then this is going at full speed, which is exactly what we want. So if you want to reproduce this, we now have straight input lines. You have another input line here and another one here. So we've got 5 input lines, and then we can just make rows of these as and when we need to, which we're not going to do this episode, but you know, we are building up a fair amount of basic electronic boards. Yeah, over 1,000 so far. They'll certainly come into play once we get to the full bots rather than these nanobots. All right, what else are we going to do? Since we now have filter inserters, we're going to get rid of the slag out of this sorting line before it hits our furnaces. We've got a warehouse at the end there that's got lots of ore in it, lots of slag in it that's missed our furnaces. We're not going to be doing that. I think we're going to be separating things out a little bit. So I'm probably going to take care of these trees between the episodes, and then we'll have dedicated iron and copper furnace setups now that we've got to the stage where we can do that. So to sort that one out, I think I'm just going to put in our filter inserters, and you know, we'll get a couple of power poles, and then I'm going to build a warehouse. I'm going to need some stone bricks. Handily, we do have lots of stone bricks around, hopefully. Let's just grab some of these off this line. Build a warehouse. Now, what are we going to want to do with the slag? The slag has a few uses. One, we can turn it back into crushed stone and hence into stone and hence into stone bricks. So we could just transport everything into stone bricks. But later on, it has another use for concrete. Now, is there any other way to make concrete without slag? You can. You can do it with sand and stone. Stone is easy enough to get because we can make stone again through slag if we wanted to, but also elsewhere. But that is, yeah, that's going to need thin mud water and cement. Even if we chose the other way of making it, we still need cement. So we can either make slag directly into concrete, or we can go via the other recipe, which has us ignoring it, but then we're probably going to turn it into stone at some point anyway if we go with that route. Doesn't really much matter either way. For the moment, I'm going to warehouse it so that we have all of that taken care of. Let's just put it there. And we're going to set this to the slag. There we go. And we're going to make some more of those. And in fact, it can probably take care of all of it by itself. It looks like it is doing. But just for safety's sake, I don't want any of that actually hitting our furnaces. And that's pretty good. Okay, and of course we can stack those if we wanted to, but I'm not going to need to do it for now. So now that we've got pure iron and copper, next episode, or at least between the episodes, I'm going to separate them out. And we'll no longer need these furnaces anymore. We can go back to proper furnace setups, which means these will have a much larger buffer internally. And of course you can see this has got a lot of mixed ores. As soon as anything backs up, it's all going to end up in this warehouse. I've got this one here for stone bricks. So we can feed this all back in as long as we don't feed slag back in. So again, I'm not going to do it now, but I'll probably feed a couple of belts out and then or hand carry them as something to feed them back into the start of our furnaces. Okay, so next episode we'll move on to furnaces and steel. In fact, no, actually, no. Next episode we're going to move on to the limestone side of things and the whole washing side of things. We're going to need to go back to our ocean pond over there, or pond over there for water. And then we'll need to look at some of the things over here. But for now, that's pretty good. I'm going to leave this episode here as a bit of a short one. The next one's going to be a fairly in-depth one on washing. And not washing your hands. Washing lots and lots of stuff to get us towards limestone and lime. And other good stuff along that route. And then probably we'll take a look after that at some more of advanced stuff that we still need to research. Maybe blast furnaces. We haven't got to them yet. You can make iron and copper with blast furnaces instead of regular furnaces. And doing that is a more extensive chain than what we have so far. So we do need clean lines to really do that justice. And yeah, we've got them. Okay, so this has been a bit of an optimization episode. Obviously, if you don't like optimization or making things look nice or anything like that, you may not have liked that. I don't know, but let me know in the comments if you haven't. And of course, subscribe, share, and like is normal if you do. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, finished for this episode, and the next episode, more good stuff. Thanks for watching.